This is Tyrese Haliburton, and besides being known for having one of the most unique pre-game wardrobes in the NBA, he's also one of the best offensive players in the league. To call him something of a floor general would kind of be an understatement, because what Haliburton does for this Pacers team is allow for them to play at a lightning-quick style and tempo that very few players in league history could replicate. The Pacers are like the 7 seconds or less Suns, but on steroids. There are no wasted movements in their offense, and teams need to be on high alert the moment someone in yellow touches the ball. Every time I watch them, I'm constantly reminded of this play from last year, where the Pacers scored off a missed basket in 5 seconds without the ball even touching the ground. And where teams mess up is overcommitting to loose balls in the backcourt and being overly aggressive on the offensive glass. It puts the defense in a 4-on-5 situation, and that's when Tyrese Haliburton always makes the right decision. The amount of times I've watched the Pacers play and they score before the camera returns to a broadcast angle is insane. If teams don't get back, then Hallie will push the ball down court for a score before you can even react. Here's another play where Hallie throws the ball immediately after Miami scores, Obi Toppin seals Tyler Hero in the post, and it's 2 points in 6 seconds. On defense, he likes to jump passing lanes to find opportunities to score in transition, but he does whiff on his fair share of these, which leads to open shots for the other team. Still, Hallie is always looking downhill to make outlet passes in transition, which is why he is one of, if not the most dangerous weapon in that aspect of the game. And in these situations, you'll notice that the Pacers' bigs and wings immediately look to find Hallie after a rebound so he can work his magic, getting them easy looks on the other end. Tyrese has actually talked about how important this is to the Pacers' scheme on offense, that the bigs and even guards look to find him after a rebound.
I always think if you grab the rebound and I'm next to you, give me the ball, because I want to give you it back. I just want to. I'm trying to drive and draw two, and I'm gonna give it right back. Put you in easier position. And usually when we get a new guy, it takes a little bit. Like when Bruce first got there, he would do this, and I'm like, oh, give me the ball. Give me the ball. I'm gonna get you a layup. Like, come on. And I'll never, like the Portland game, the first rebound Pascal grabbed, I was in front of him, and I was waiting for him to do this, and he flipped it to me. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be fun. Like, he gave me the ball right away.
A big reason why Tyrese is such a good transition passer is that his head is always on a swivel. He sees the defender's hips are turned outwards here and not facing the streaking Nesmith, which is all he needs to see. This anticipation is why he is one of the best playmakers in the league. Siakam is behind the play, but Giddey and Vucevic are backpedaling, which means they won't be able to intercept this pass if he throws it ahead of Pascal and right in stride. According to Synergy Tracking, of all players in the league that average at least 5 transition possessions per game, Hallie is the most efficient, with the Pacers posting a 170 offensive rating in those possessions. He doesn't score on most of these plays. He's simply looking for leakers and opportunities to catch the defense off guard for an easy look. The moment the ball gets inbounded, it's a dead sprint to get open and beat the defense down court, which takes insane endurance, but also a point guard that sees the entire floor while playing with tempo. Hallie will score on these chances if you give him space. Cat gets back on defense here, but nobody picks up number 0, so he just drains a pull-up 3. Hallie is actually shooting 40% on pull-up 3s this season, which is Steve Nash level efficiency, and is another reason why teams have recently resorted to picking him up in the backcourt so he can't initiate the fast break. This was a fairly effective strategy last year, but the Pacers have empowered Siakam to also push the pace in these situations, which has only made Indy's transition attack so much more potent. In the half court, take a wild guess who the most efficient pick and roll ball handler is. You already know it. Tyrese is such a dangerous pick and roll weapon because of the space around him and his change of pace ability. He likes to take this little skip dribble, which allows for him to identify where the point of attack defender's hips are facing so he can make his move. Here it is in transition. Hali skips as if he's going to come around this ball screen, but the second Aaron Gordon jumps forward to defend it, he crosses back over to get past him. Then a beautiful pass to the wing collapses the defense and leads to an open three. If the defender goes under the screen, the skip dribble allows for the screener to flip the screen, essentially a rescreen that also forces the defender to go over so Hali can put the defender on his hip and go to his 48% mid-range. It also allows for Hali to see how the defense is defending the pick and roll. The skip opens up space for him to attack this iced ball screen, and the jump pass leads to an open shot. This move is straight out of the handbook of Chris Paul, who would play this little cat and mouse game with the point of attack defender where they don't know if they should go under or over the screen, and the second they commit, Paul would either take the three or drive into empty space. An older Paul torched the Pelicans with this move in the 2022 playoffs. CJ McCollum doesn't know whether to chase Paul over the screen or meet him under the screen, and when he finally decides to go over, Paul can just dribble into open space for an easy mid-range pull-up. Another player who really perfected this timing and pick and roll was John Wall, and because he wasn't a pull-up shooter like Hali and Paul were, teams went under these ball screens a lot more, so you saw him use this little hop-step dribble before committing to the screen a lot more, which had defenders in a frenzy. Another move that Wall actually coined that shows up a lot in Hali's game is the jump pass. Wall would use this move in pick and roll a lot when teams switched because it usually meant a guard was on his big with good inside position, and Hali uses this move more than any player in the NBA right now. He normally does this when blitzed in the pick and roll because he can't always see over the defense. This creates another angle for him to throw the pocket pass when teams put lengthier defenders on him. Jump passes are usually risky because if there's not an outlet, you're kind of stuck in no man's land. But Tyrese is the standard for turnover economy, creating an absurd amount of open looks while not turning it over much. Now, teams know he likes this move, so defenders will try to jump as well on these plays to create deflections, but watch how Hali adjusts mid-air to find the open roller. The hang time and body control to make some of these passes is impressive, and the fact that he and Luka Doncic are the most efficient pick and roll ball handlers when doubled, even though Hali commits half as many turnovers, speaks volumes. Now, isolation scoring is probably the weakest part of Hali's offensive game. He only ranks in the 56th percentile despite being a low volume ISO scorer anyways. And I think a big reason is he doesn't have a tight handle or a step back that creates a lot of space. His jumper is also a slower release, which means bigs can recover in time to contest these shots pretty well. I think a big reason his step backs aren't very effective is that his hamstrings aren't actually that big. I'm not sure how much he squats, but given step backs put a lot of stress on that part of the body, his previous injuries and his relatively thinner frame sort of make this look like an awkward sidestep at times. In these situations, Hali does do a great job of keeping his dribble alive when under the basket. Steve Nash used to do this a ton, and even though Hali creates absolutely no space on Rui here, notice how he keeps his dribble when under the basket until he's able to find a teammate to break down the defense. I also think this is why Hali creates the most space without the ball. The Pacers as a team run some of the fewest pick and roll actions in the league. A lot of these plays you'll see Hali play off the ball, running back cuts almost like a wide receiver in football to break down the defense. Also notice the jump pass here to force the rotation. Hali initiates a ton of get actions where two defenders will jump out to him, which leads to a temporary 4-on-3, just like the Steph Curry effect. A get action is basically when the guard passes to a teammate and then follows his pass to receive a handoff. These plays are functionally similar to a pick and roll, but they catch defenders off guard who aren't attached to the original ball handler. And defenders who overcommit to these DHOs are at the mercy of a prime Michael Thomas slant route, which is how Hali creates space, gets downhill, and creates open looks for his teammates. Here is another action where Hali throws the ball ahead, the POA defender goes under the screen and the flip screen, so Hali goes to his little skip dribble until the defender goes back over the screen and the floater is automatic. He's by no means a perfect off-ball player. He misses the perfect chance to back cut here, but for my money, he and the Pacers do a great job blending his on-ball and off-ball involvement in a way that doesn't stress his self-creation too much while simultaneously maximizing his playmaking ability. Every guard is different when it comes to what type of big they pair best with in the pick and roll. For instance, guards like Trae Young and James Harden thrive best with lob threats at center. Shea thrives with a big with a good in-between mid-range game, and Hali fits best with a pick and pop big, someone who can stretch the defense as far as possible with the threat to shoot from deep. Miles Turner is shooting a career best 40% from 3 on a career high 5.5 attempts, which is in large part to the attention zero draws in the pick and roll. He absolutely torched Brook Lopez earlier this year, which is why their upcoming playoff series will be interesting to watch given the success Haliburton and company have had against drop bigs. Tyrese does create way more three-point shots than layup attempts for teammates, which is why I can't put him on the same tier as a Jokic or Luka as playmakers, both of whom create way more close-range shots for teammates, but nonetheless, his combination of efficient on and off-ball scoring, plus a brilliant passing repertoire that makes him a top 3 transition weapon, is why I think Hali is one of the best offensive engines in the league today, and such a scary matchup for playoff defenses. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've made it to the end, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. Looking ahead to the Pacers-Bucks series, let me know who you think has the upper hand in that series and how many games it will go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.